This section focuses on how to make each variable in your data genuinely meaningful for business decisions. Graphs can show patterns at a glance, but they often miss deeper details about how a variable actually behaves. We will look at two core ideas: where the data tends to sit on average and how much it jumps around that average. By the end of the full section, you will see how these simple concepts help you compare results across products, datasets, and time periods with more confidence. Imagine two products, A and B, each reporting average weekly sales of 85 units. On the surface, they look identical, and if we stop there, we might assume their performance is equal. However, that single number hides how each product behaves week to week, including whether one is steady while the other swings wildly. When leaders rely only on the average, they can overlook instability, inconsistency, or hidden opportunity. The key message is that an average is a starting point, not the full story, for real business interpretation. Central tendency is a formal way of saying what is typical in this dataset. It gives you a single value that stands in for many measurements, which helps you compare one dataset to another or compare performance over different time periods. In our product example, the average of 85 acts as that anchor point for both A and B, making them seem similar at first glance. Business conversations often start here because people naturally want a quick sense of expected performance. Once you have that anchor, you are ready to ask the next question: how tightly or loosely does real performance cluster around it? Variability describes how tightly your data points group around the central value or how far they tend to stray. If product A stays close to 85 most weeks, while product B jumps far above and below 85, they will feel very different in day-to-day operations, even with the same average. This spread tells you about reliability, predictability, and the potential for surprise in your results. For business, that means variability helps you judge which product is safer to rely on and where you might expect swings in demand or performance. Thinking about both central tendency and variability turns a vague impression into a clearer operational picture. When you look at data for a single variable, such as weekly sales, the average is only one part of the interpretation. You also need to understand how much that variable moves around to get a sense of real-world stability and risk. Using both central tendency and variability together lets you compare products, time periods, or datasets in a more informed way. As you continue through this section, keep asking two questions of any measurement. What is typical here, and how much does it actually fluctuate around that typical value? Those simple questions will keep your analysis grounded in business reality instead of surface-level numbers.